So this trip to Italy was probably the best trip that I have ever taken in my life. I mean, the food, the culture, the history. This was my first time in Europe, so that made it extra special. So in this video, I want to tell you about my trip and my experience, but also kind of give you some tips that'll help you out hopefully on your trip to Italy. But this trip didn't really start out the greatest, as I got this severe stomach pain about halfway through the flight, and that just continued on for the first couple of days of the trip. So as soon as I landed in Rome, it was straight to the train up to Florence, and then I already had a ticket that afternoon for Galleria dell'Accademia, where Michelangelo's statue of David resides. And so I had to fight through that stomach pain, but statue of David, just amazing. This thing is 17 feet tall. There's so much detail, absolutely worth it to go there and check it out. So that evening, even though my stomach wasn't right, I still had to get some Italian food. You know, I'm in Italy for the first day, I gotta do it. So I went to this quaint little restaurant called Il Vezzo, which translates to the habit. I'm guessing it's like the habit of cooking, right? And the food there was delicious, but it was just a shame that I had that stomach pain because I really wanted to eat more than I actually did. So on day 2, I actually had this Vespa tour planned through Tuscany, but given that it was going to be 6 hours out there, no way to turn around and go back, and because of my stomach, I decided to cancel that trip, and instead I just kind of walked around Florence and checked it out, got a feel for it and everything. Went down to the Arno River. There is Ponte Vecchio, which is this old stone bridge. I think it's like the oldest stone bridge in Europe. It's lined with all these shops. It's all jewelry shops, a lot of history. It's just beautiful down there on the river. And then for lunch, I went to what is the third most reviewed restaurant in the world on TripAdvisor, and that's All'Antico Vinaio, which is a famous panini shop, and all the ingredients super fresh there. It's not expensive. I think it was like €6 for one sandwich. Definitely one that is worth the hype, I think, so definitely check it out if you are in Florence. And so the day after that, I wasn't gonna cancel my plans because I had a great day planned. And so I got up super early and caught the first train out of Florence to go up to Pisa. And of course, you gotta check out the Leaning Tower, right? And I know in this situation, it's during a pandemic, there weren't as many travelers out there as normally, but still, I think going first thing in the morning, I would definitely recommend it to avoid the crowds. So from there, I continued on a train up to a region known as Cinque Terre, which means 5 lands, because there's 5 little villages here built up on the side of the hills there, right along the coast of the Mediterranean. Just a beautiful, beautiful area. And so I stopped at Monterosso first and then kind of worked my way back. And so next it was Vernazza, and there is where I had lunch, and I kind of climbed way up on top of this hill to this restaurant called La Torre, which I'm just sitting there and I got the breeze of the Mediterranean, and I'm eating fresh pasta in Vernazza, Italy, and I'm like, man, this is the life, man. What in the world? How is this even real right now? That was just a really special moment. And so from Vernazza, then I went on to Rio Maggiore, which is probably the most beautiful village along the coast there. And for some reason I didn't take any video, so I'll just have to show some pictures of that. So then I ended up going back to Florence for dinner that evening, and I went to this place called Il Giardino di Barbano. Probably messing that up, but anyways, so this place is just a cool vibe, a nice patio out in the back, and had a great steak there. I didn't get the traditional Florentine steak when I was in Florence because that thing is huge and I'm just one person, but this was a great steak. Definitely a place I recommend if you are in Florence. So after that, I actually went to get some gelato and I ate a lot of gelato in Italy, and my favorite place in Florence was this place called My Sugar. You could tell it's just fresh, homemade gelato. It's just so good, so good. So let me tell you about where I was staying here in Florence, and that was the Hotel Orto de Medici, which is a 4-star hotel, but it was only like 114 bucks a night. So really a great deal. It's in a pretty good location. The rooms are really spacious. The breakfast there was amazing, and they have this nice little breakfast area kind of on a balcony. The whole grounds there are really beautiful. Definitely recommend that you stay at Hotel Orto de Medici. My last day in Florence, my last full day in Florence, I had probably one of the best experiences, if not the best experience of this entire trip, really, and that was a place I found on Airbnb, an experience on Airbnb that was Pasta Class Florence, and that was hosted by Chef Michele Galtieri, and he has 2 restaurants in Florence, and it was just a great vibe. What was cool about it is not only are you learning to cook traditional Italian pastas, but you're also interacting with fellow travelers. So there was this cool couple there from New York City, a couple from Denmark, and then one guy who was an American, but he lived in Paris for 20 years. So just a neat group of people and different cultures coming together, cooking food, which was really some of the best food that I had in my entire time in Italy.
We already take the pasta, okay? I usually take with this one, okay? I take with the tongs, I close my tongs, and you drop the pasta inside, okay? Very quickly. You made it look really easy.
You did.
Alright, take your time. No rush. And you never rinse the pasta, right?
Never? No, never. Good. Go here.
Spoon.
This one, spoon. Take out. Really good. Really good. Really good. For the fish. I do the sauce. You keep going with pasta, okay?
I'll put that information for Pasta Class Florence down below in the description for you to check out. It's only like 60 bucks, I think, for a 3-hour class. Totally worth it. Great deal. Definitely recommend that. So after the pasta class and maybe after another gelato, I went down to Piazzale Michelangelo down on the southern end of the city, and this is kind of a raised area above the city. Great view over the city, and so I went there basically to get a good skyline shot. Definitely a great place for sunset and also a great place for sunrise. It was kind of packed up there at sunset, and I bet you there wouldn't be that many people if you're there for sunrise, so definitely check it out. My final morning in Florence, I did another activity that was one of my favorites of this whole trip. I keep saying that, but everything was a favorite. Everything, man, the whole experience was just so great, but this was really special, and that was to climb up to the top of the Duomo. So it cost 20 euros, which I think is like 23 bucks US. Totally worth it. It's not really too hard of a climb, but you will be sweating. So I definitely recommend going first thing in the morning if you are there in the summertime, because it's a really old building that doesn't have air conditioning. So anyways, you get to the top, man, and the views of the city are just amazing. I think this is probably the highest point, or one of the highest points of the city. Maybe some of those bell towers are a little bit higher, but that's definitely something that I would recommend in Florence. Kind of a must-do activity, I would say. So after that, I took the train back to Rome, and then I spent the next 4 nights in Rome. And we're going to save that for the next video. So if you want to hear about that and get some tips for Rome, definitely hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in that video.